Hey everybody, welcome back to All Things Pink, where we discuss all things women over 40. And today on the show, I have someone who I think is just so much fun. My friend Lisa Williams is here with us today, and we are going to be talking about life's challenges, positivity, and how we define ourselves.
Out in the open, to the horizon, where your heart can finally breathe. Out in the open, to the horizon, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild. You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild.
So, welcome to the show, Lisa. I'm so glad you agreed to do this with me today.
Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to it.
You know, I always say I know so many amazing women. I could just do this probably for years before I ever ran out of the
Material.
really cool people in
Or
the pod. And we know each other like a lot. I'm noticing outside of work because we don't work together, but through friends,
Correct.
through music.
Yes.
Yes, I actually, what's funny is I was thinking about it the other day that I remember when you first started dating Michael.
Gosh, I wish I did. No,
But
I remember.
it's such a kind of a tight-knit group,
Mhm.
you know, like here, like where we live. I think we're really lucky to be able to do that. And I always, you know, I tell a lot of younger women that's one of the most important things is having that group of other women, other strong women,
Yes.
like at different points in your life, you know, that like kind of things change, but like they all kind of like evolve with you.
Yes.
I tend to have that. Like, here's my group that I had like when I was younger, and then these are my like work colleague friends, and you know, and as you kind of evolve in your life, it expands,
Right.
which I think is really cool. So, tell me a little bit about what you do.
I do medical coding. I've been doing it for 25 years. I actually am credentialed. I have to have credentials to do this job as a doctor. So I have to keep my education up because the codes change every year. New
I
books,
didn't know that.
Yes, new books come out, new ICD-10 codes come out because there's always different diseases. They're always wanting them to make them more specified because they don't like something that's not specified. The insurance companies don't. And there's always new CPT codes. So we have to constantly keep up with what's going on in the medical coding world. And I started out with the military at the Naval Academy, which I loved. I got the call 25 years ago in Florida visiting my mom, and the lady propositioned me the job, and I was super excited, but I'd never done military coding. Military coding is different than civilian coding.
Okay, how so?
Well, they use the same books. We use the same ICD-10 and CPT books, but military also has their own codes for our men and women in the military. So they tracks the way they track diseases, for them being in war, like when Agent Orange was going on and all that stuff. So I had a separate book of codes that I needed to know also along with my other books.
Wow.
So it was
Yeah, I had
challenging.
no idea that was so intricate, if you will.
Yes, it varies. It's like a dictionary. It's a dictionary of the medical world. I could never diagnose a person, but I know when you tell me you have something wrong, I can usually come up with what's going on with you because I read it so much.
Wow.
And I have probably done in the CPT book, there's many different, I was going to say clinics, but it's not clinics, but there's specialties.
Okay.
And I have worked every one of them. My biggest one was in the military, was doing oncology and hematology at Walter Reed.
Wow.
It's very scary.
I'm sure. Well, and you know, you're a part of the way that whole system functions. So like if you do something wrong,
It comes back to me, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like throw everything off, right?
Right. It's like what really coding is about is keeping the guidelines and the rules set by the American Medical Association,
Okay.
and keeping our doctors, making sure they don't commit anything such as the big word fraud.
Oh, I see.
Yes, we make sure that every claim that goes out the door is coded correctly. When I started at the Naval Academy, we did not have electronic medical record.
Oh gosh.
No.
So like
25 years ago, it was all done by hand, girl. They had the master sergeant, who I happened to ride Harleys with, was very interesting. Had a lieutenant under him pull all the charts that we saw in the clinic at the Naval Academy, and I had to sit there and hand code them all. So back in the Naval Academy, back 25 years ago, I only had to do like 60 because it was all hand. Now, after 25 years, I do 125.
like a day?
Yes. That is my productivity level.
So yeah, I mean it takes a level of expertise.
Yeah.
And knowledge to do that. So it is probably a good thing that you have to stay on top of that. But
Yeah, because if
people
I don't-
probably wouldn't think that that's actually that kind of intricate of a
Right,
process.
that it's that involved. It's very and back in the day I worked with the doctors. I worked in their clinics. Now
Okay.
we're like under the business office, and I really did like the military a lot because I was hands-on teaching. I did more teaching than I did coding. I was the lead coder
Okay.
when I got hired, and I was down there every day teaching them about why they had to do the documentation, why you have to specify. I'm going to just say this. If you're in the military and you're going to a medical facility, I mean, not medical facility, a military facility, medical facility, they're going to get paid no matter what because it's our military.
Right.
But the biggest thing was teaching them when you leave, you're going to be civilian and you're not going to get paid like that because you have to document, right, to get paid. And a lot of our doctors still have a hard time.
So what would you say was the most challenging part of this work? Like what is? And it's okay if you revert back to like what it used to be, or that's fine.
The most challenging part was every time I got moved into a different clinic, I had to relearn that clinic. Like going from hematology to oncology. And actually, when I got hired at Frederick, that's one of the reasons they hired me because of my expertise in hematology oncology. They'd never had a coder in that department.
Oh, wow.
So, but then they decided, and it's good. I mean, I didn't like it at first, but then they rotated us. So then they put me in primary care and urgent care. And that was just a whole nother different set of codes I had to learn.
So how do you feel about your career? Because it sounds like you've really, kind of cemented in this amazing career doing this and obviously helping people. How do you feel about your career now versus when you were younger? I always ask a lot of these comparisons because as we get older, so much about us changes. So how do you kind of
I have had a couple people come to me when at the hospital here at Frederick, and they've asked about a career in coding. Honestly, I would have to say I'm burnt out. So I don't recommend it. Number one, AI is probably going to take my job. And you cannot walk in making the money I make now compared to when I got my job at at the Naval Academy, and I asked the woman, the project manager, I said, "How did you find me?" She did a research because I had to be, like I said, we have to be credentialed. So I'm credentialed for an association that recognizes us, and I have to stay in good standings with them.
Gotcha.
So she contacted them. I was the only coder in Annapolis, Maryland, anywhere on the east that they found. And that's how I got that job at the Naval Academy. I have to say.
So are you planning on retiring soon?
I do plan on retiring May of my birthday next year.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So I see you guys, and we love to do this. I see you guys traveling.
Yes.
And stuff. So I assume you're doing that more now than years ago.
Not as much right now because Michael's parents are getting older, so we're staying closer to home. I have a 90-year-old mom. I don't like going out of the country a lot because I can't be reached or I can't get off a boat as fast
Well, yeah.
if I
Yeah.
had to get to my mother.
I hear you.
But we do plan on doing a little bit more traveling when I retire.
But you guys like to we're always kind of mind blown about how people don't get out and do things, whether it's like not necessarily like traveling out of the country, but like going and doing stuff.
Right.
Doing stuff together, doing stuff, like living. That's what I call it. So
Right.
I noticed that, like, because I see you on obviously Facebook and
Uh-huh.
stuff all the time. And it's a cool connection because we love doing this too. Like I've got to,
Yes.
now we obviously do it for the channel, but we were doing it long before that, like I would leave all the time if I could.
Well, I'll tell
Because
you what, Michael's going to have a hard time probably finding me next summer because he still has to work. We have plenty of friends with pools.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he just bought a condo in Ocean City. And I'm like,
Well, you'll just be there.
Right?
You'd be like, you can FaceTime me.
Yeah. What do you need? I'm at the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. And especially like when you, I think we get so busy in our lives when we're younger, working, kids, all of that stuff, that to me, it's kind of unfortunate that we have to wait until we're older
Yeah.
to be like, okay, now I have time. Then you're like, well, shit.
Now I'm old.
Now I'm like,
But I don't know. I don't feel old for my age. I really don't.
you don't have to say what that is
I'm
on
not
here.
going to. Anybody who knows me knows how old I am. And y'all better not say it. No, I don't really know if everyone really knows. I don't put it out there.
I don't think they do because, it's so funny. And I get certain vibes about people, and I always just was like, I love her.
Aw,
Just
thank you.
but it's that vibe that you have, and nobody would ever know. I can
Aw,
promise you
thank
that because
you.
and we get to know people, but especially through this podcast, I've been able to get to know people that I know but don't really know, but just on a much deeper level. So my vibe that I always picked up from you was a lot of your positivity.
Oh,
And
thanks.
so I have a question
Sure.
for you because I always joke about, like we're all kind, a lot of times people that want to be positive and like to spread positivity. And I watch what people post, and a lot of times it's, you can tell if that's what they're trying to do, and you've always done that. I always wonder, do you ever lose your shit?
Yes, I did.
Like full on, the shit is gone. Like, because I think, sometimes, and I joke about this, but there is, a thing like, come on, even the most positive of people, even the friendliest, most kind, loving, we have our moments
Yes.
where there's certain things that will literally just, you're done. Like you will lose your shit. For me, I think, and I really don't have this happen very much. I like to keep anger and those kinds of things under control. I don't like to let that ever get in my realm. But every once in a while, something seeps in, and I'm very particular. And the number one thing for me is if anyone messes with my cub or one of my cubs.
Yes.
You know what I mean by
Yes, I
that?
do.
I will literally, like, I can feel it right now. I can literally feel it. I will see red.
Yeah.
And, like, it's the end of the world. It's the apocalypse. So for you, what are those things?
Well, I am very protective. I have 2 boys though, and they're 38 and 36. They're very well-built, mature boys. So I don't really think I have to step up and interfere in that kind of manner, but I would feel I'm protective about their emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And if I see that I think I've kind of learned to step back, especially with my one son who's a doctor. He's too smart for his own good. And I just have to step back, and I see some of the mistakes that he's making in life, and I just step back and say, you'll figure it out. And
Oh, yeah.
you'll see when I
But
was,
I think it's that mama bear thing is always there. But when they're younger, I
yeah.
think it's like a million times worse. Like, how dare you? You know, like that.
Yeah.
That's me.
Well, I
like-
was an at-home mom when they were born, and I really did love that very much. And I did daycare, and I loved it.
Oh, okay.
But then I kind of grew intolerant a little bit to other people's kids. I know that's awful to say.
It is not awful to say.
They're not mine.
Yeah.
And I'm just
I've never really been like a kid person. Like we'll be traveling and I'm like, oh God, the room is full of them and they're loud. And I'm like, oh my God, I need peace.
Yes.
But I think I'm like that just with people.
I'm
We-
like that and I have to say it because I was kind of strict with my children, and so was their father. A little bit too strict. Anyway, but what I see parenting happen now is just makes me want to go up and shake them and say, get a grip on your child because you're going to lose them if you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and it just amazes me how there's no morals anymore, I think.
I think does that make you lose your shit?
It does a little bit. Well,
I
yeah.
think like the state sometimes of our world, and morals is a good way to put it, because I think that has a different definition for everyone. People have kind of taken that liberty of, well, this is what I think is morals, and I grew up totally different than that. So
Right.
it's nuanced now, which is harder, I think, for us
Let's just
because
change
it
it instead of
wasn't.
morals. Let's say respect.
There you go. That's a good one.
Yes, yeah, because
Chronic
everybody does have
disrespect
a
makes me
yeah,
angry.
that makes me very angry. And it's not I mean, it is a little bit of the parents, but I see that children think it's okay to push their parents around and they
Mhm.
let them. And I feel like shaking the parent and saying, "You're not their friend, you're their mother.
I've been there so many
So
times.
stop. Stop letting this child bully you because, you know,
Oh yeah.
they're going to have a hard lesson in life if you continue to let them do that."
Oh, absolutely. I think but the examples that they have, like I think it was very recent. I was talking about like how we learn things. We're learning them from social media and from, yeah, like just very bad, poor examples. We can, I don't get super political, but look at the divide
Yes.
where we are with that. Like, what is that teaching just people in general? Never mind our like younger generations. It's all about being divided. And to me, that's insane.
It is. And I just
I
remember
think it
back,
breeds disrespect.
yeah, back in I think it was high school, and we were learning government and just learning that, in my head, or the way I was brought up, is that this person who is the president of the United States, regardless if you like him or not, you're supposed to work with them. And if he's making a bad decision, let's help him make a better one. But there's no attacking like there is
But
now.
that's the
And
problem.
that's just, I mean, even I know a lot of people don't like our president, and I'm not getting political, but my thing is with what's going on in the House and the Senate and all that, is that they're so dead set against working against this person instead of saying, you might not like his views, but let's work with them to maybe help change them
There's
instead
a
of
middle.
attacking
That's
them.
what that it's
There's
called, the
no respect
middle.
even there
I know.
at all.
So
And
if you
our
don't have
children
that,
see that.
exactly.
And they're getting it from watching this kind of stuff on TV, that, here this person, whoever it is sitting in this high, most respected office in the United States. And it's just degrading how they treat anybody who
I
has
feel
that.
like
And it's not
it's
just been this
anybody.
president.
You're exactly
It's been
right.
past presidents.
And so
There's
there
no
is
unity.
an acceptance of disrespect.
Yes.
And that to me, so that goes into, that's kind of how do I put this? Like a trend, because whenever this is a problem in relationships, if you accept the disrespect, it's going to boil out into other things, friendships,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. When we allow those things, it turns into something worse. We're teaching that it's totally okay. That's something that makes me lose my shit. It
Yeah.
takes a bit to do it. It needs to be chronic, but there's those moments where I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like
I
you
just have
cannot,
to,
the way people talk to each other,
yeah.
even if you disagree, it's totally okay to
It's totally
disagree.
okay to disagree. I was with a friend and we kind of went there a little bit on the politics, and it kind of shocked me what she said. And I just looked at her and I said, I've known you long enough to say it's okay for us to disagree. And I said,
Absolutely.
and we just don't need to talk about it. I said, you have your views, I have mine.
Yeah.
And the rest of the night was fine until I threw up in her kitchen sink. But hey, I even offered to do the dishes that were in there.
But I think that goes to like this somehow this deep need to be right.
Right. Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be like that. I always say one of the biggest problems we have in this world, in our relationships and in our mental health and our physical health, nobody comes to the middle. There's like no middle. It has to be like
No.
way over here or
Yes.
way over here, or you're
And
right,
if you
you're
don't believe
wrong.
my way, then I don't want to be your friend. I'm going to unfriend you.
Oh
And,
my God, that whole thing.
and I mean, I used to see that a lot in also in religion. And so I just like, because I was brought up very much in a religious atmosphere. And it was just like, okay, well, we don't have to talk about it.
No, it's fine.
I mean, you can believe in whoever you want to believe in. I'm open to all of it.
Absolutely. And it's just like here. I always say if people can learn something from pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read a book and I don't always agree with everything, but I can always learn something.
Yes.
You can take something. So you see people like just bashing stuff in comments or what, then don't watch it.
Exactly.
Like,
Or like
why
on
the
Facebook,
hell do you
instead
even
of
care?
bashing some woman or some guy or for something they're doing, if you don't like what they're doing, then why do you have to be nasty?
You don't,
Just
because
go
you
off their
don't.
page. That
I
kills me.
know.
Sometimes that's where I find myself being pulled in, and I want to go after the person who's attacking that person. And even though I might not like what that person's doing, also, I'm not going to waste my time to tell
Yeah.
them what I think of them because
I
I'm
just go
probably
like
never going to
this.
see you again.
Yeah, I just keep scrolling because I'm like, I mean, I'll giggle about it or I'll be like, oh gosh, like the negative energy is starting to give me a headache. So I'm like, I need to just, and typically it doesn't actually, I don't allow it to make me angry. Sometimes it gets to a point if it's personal or close by, then yeah, that will literally push me over the edge to be angry. But and then we try to spread more positive things. But it's funny because I just had to put it out there that even those of us that do that, we all do. We all still have those moments where we will lose our shit.
Yeah.
Or we were
I
like,
gotta say the biggest thing that causes me to lose mine is not being accountable for your actions.
it's a
That
good one.
like really irks me to no end. And I am a kind of person that I will make excuses and make excuses, and then I just have to walk away.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're not gonna be accountable for what you're doing and you're seeing it's causing a distance in us, and that's with women or men or whoever, then I'm just kind of like, okay, you just don't see it, and I'm wasting my time, so I'll just step back a little bit.
Do you think it goes back to the whole somebody's got to be right or wrong? Because I feel like it's like sometimes you can take accountability for something and it all be fine.
Right.
Like, because you may not have even intentionally done that, or you may not think it's a big deal, but that person thinks it's a big deal. Oh my gosh, that's like maturity.
Right. I mean, if somebody
That's what, isn't that what part of
if
what
I
that's supposed
walk
to
up to
be?
somebody and a friend of mine wonders what's going on and like why haven't we talked or whatever, and I proceed to tell you that you've done something that hurt me,
Mhm.
and you don't want to be accountable for it or hear me out and listen to, you may not have realized you did it, but that hurt me,
Mhm.
so I'm letting you know. And all I need you to say is, wow, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I did that.
Exactly.
And I find that's really hard for people to say.
To me, that's insane.
Yeah.
because it is.
And it's
I
like,
think it's
well,
almost
whatever.
harder for the
I've
person to
heard,
have
yeah,
said
like,
it to you.
yeah,
Like,
it's like, whatever, you need to get over it. And I'm like, no, I don't. You need to listen to what I'm saying. If it's hurting me, or, then maybe you need to hear me out and say, wow, maybe I am a sensitive person, but if you love someone, you don't continue to treat them that way.
of course, gaslighting. Like, that's like
Yeah.
a buzzword now. And a lot of people don't even know what it means, but that's a piece of it. And it's gotten so popular to do
Yes.
to people. And that's what I think is crazy. Why the hell would something like that be popular? But it is, and it causes, again, so many of these things can be solved. And I kind of fear for our younger generations
Hmm.
anymore, because I'm like, although when I was growing up, like, nobody talked about these things.
Right.
So it might be good actually for them, because when I was growing up, there was not conversations about things like emotional maturity and intelligence. I think it's just maybe because the structure of the morals were
Right.
different. Um, but you sure didn't talk about, therapy or mental health, and all of that existed back
And
then
I think a
too.
lot of our mental health has come from people growing up and keeping all that inside of them and not
Mm-hmm.
having anybody to go to, because if they're afraid they did. And I know that just from my childhood, that you got looked down upon, or it was, they just didn't want to hear it. Well,
Yeah.
they didn't, a lot of people, and I think our day, didn't want to recognize the fact that they could have done something to hurt another human being.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because like I kind of like said earlier, I get to know people that I know on this podcast, and you had told me, which I didn't know, that you grew up in foster care.
Yes, I did.
And so, and I know that's a journey in and of itself. And at that time, they definitely weren't talking about mental health or abandonment or attachment or any of those things, which
Hmm.
I'm going to assume that you can speak about and know about. Um, how was that for you?
Well, it happened when I was 2, and I have 3 brothers. I have 3 older brothers. And my mom did abandon us.
Hmm.
And for the longest time, I just didn't really understand what was going on. But I did realize that when I went into homes, I was not, I was treated as an outsider. Finally, they separated us. My older brother went to my grandmother because back in the day, what we now call ADHD, they did not know what was wrong with him. And my brother was the type that did beat his head against the wall, spun circles.
Oh,
So nobody wanted him. And so they put him with my grandmother, and my other 2 brothers went to a foster home together. So I grew up with none of my brothers at all.
oh
Oh, yeah.
no.
So I got put into a very good, I would have to, caring, loving foster home.
Well,
We
that's
went into
good.
one together, and the lady could not handle us. The 4 of us, plus she had her own kids. And so the foster care back then decided, well, we have to split them up,
Oh
which
my
was not good
gosh.
for any of us, really.
No, I can't
I
imagine it
mean, I am
being.
close to my brothers now, except for one. But it was strange not having that family unity. But I got it with this foster family that I lived with. They were
Oh, that's
holier than thou art
amazing.
Baptist, and I didn't know any different. But that kind of started my religious journey with
Okay.
them. We went to church every Sunday, and they had 4 children. They had 3 girls and 1 boy. So I grew up with the teenage daughter in the Beatles area,
Oh,
watching the Beatles on
fun.
TV, and I mean, they weren't so strict that we couldn't watch the Beatles and stuff like that, and
Right,
dancing
right.
around. And it was in a really old Victorian home that I grew up in. It
Oh,
was kind of cool,
neat.
and they loved me. They even asked
That's
my mother.
awesome.
My mother had baptized me as Methodist, but they wanted to rebaptize me as Baptist, and my
Mm.
mom would not allow them, which kind of bothered me because I thought, well, you're not in my life. These people
Yeah.
care enough
Yeah.
about me. Let them do it. But, she didn't. So, but I went back home at 9, and it was like living with a stranger. I thought I'd lost my family because I didn't know my real family. These
Right.
people were my family. Whatever they did, I was always included in it. You know,
Nice.
Christmas, they bought for me. I mean,
Yeah.
Christmas was fun in a foster home because I got Christmas presents from my family, and they also gave me, you know, so it was like, oh, all the big wonderful tree and big presents, and you know, so it was nice. I have to say, I even tried to find them one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I was in counseling a little bit for another church I was involved in with the pastor, and I talked about I would like to find them because when you leave a foster family, you're not supposed to have any contact.
That was going to be a question I was going to ask
Yeah.
you. I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that way now, but back in that day it
God,
was.
isn't that's kind
Yeah,
of
you can't
terrible.
have any
Like,
contact. And I was, so, you know, I grew up with these kids that were like my brother and sister,
yeah.
but in the church treated me as family,
Okay.
but the schools did not. I was not part of a family in that school. So when it came to, you know, doing family things together, the teachers just looked at me as being,
Oh
I
my
don't know what you want to
gosh.
call it, not like a bad girl, but I was,
Yeah, I hear what she's, but as a child, you
it gave
probably,
you a complex. Like I got pointed out a lot.
ugh,
So I was like, so you
you can tell by
became,
my face how I feel about
yeah,
that.
you became the quiet kid, you know, because they just like for some reason, oh, you know, her mother left her. You know,
Oh,
it was heartbreaking now that I think about it.
yeah, yeah. And that kind of shapes all of those little things that seem so little.
Well, yeah, I
Um,
tell you what it shaped for me growing up. I didn't get attachments to number one, I never wanted children because I just didn't have an attachment to anything.
mhm.
You know, I didn't even have an attachment to my own family when I moved back home because I didn't know who my mother was. She
Right.
visited me, like my father and my mother, my mother had every second Sunday, my father had every third Sunday. And there were times that they just didn't come. And I just got to the point where, you know what, they weren't reliable in my life, but these family that took me in was my family.
Right,
You know, so
right.
going back home to her, my mom, who I do dearly love now, it's changed, but it was like living with a stranger. And my brother, my older brother, was with her. She let my other two brothers stay in the foster care,
Oh,
which I
okay.
kind of got upset about because I asked her when she got me, and I said, "Weren't you going to bring, you know, Jeffrey and Robin home?"
Yeah.
And the answer was no. And I'm like, "What?"
That's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I was like, okay. And her answer was, well, I took two of you. Your father can have the other two. I was like, okay. So, and so I had abandonment problems. Yeah. And
Yes, I
I
can.
saw it with animals. Um, with cats, I would get a cat and I would love it. And I hate saying this, and the cat would have kittens, and I would pick out a kitten I want, and I would get rid of the mother. And I kind of had a cycle of it. And I realized I
Oh.
was doing that, and I had to stop myself from doing it. And I
So
was,
do you pick up all the strays now?
oh, I want every one of them.
I know.
Yeah.
I saw this.
Ask Michael.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess like now, like, are you like making up for that
I think
piece?
I made up for it a lot with my children. I probably was a very overprotective mother, only in the sense that they were my kids. I didn't even want their father. It was just us. You know? I was like, you gave them to me. Now I don't need you anymore.
Yeah,
Just,
bye.
yeah, it's just me and the kids now. We're good.
That's
So I
funny.
think it brought when I had my first one, my biggest fear was when I held him in my arms the very first time I looked at him and I said, what do I do with you? Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
have no idea what a mother's attachment is. And I have to say, within 48 hours, of course, I nursed, that
Right,
it all
right.
came to me. I think God just gave it to me and he said, you
Yeah,
know, you're going to be fine. But I had no idea what you were supposed to do
of
being a mother
course.
because I didn't have that in my early childhood. And they do say that when, you know, the bonding, I never had that bond.
Yeah.
I have it now with my mom. It took us a while to get there.
I think that's really wonderful that you have that now.
Yes.
I think so many people never either get the chance to, or they don't want to, or they resist it for obvious reasons. It's completely understandable. Um, I think that's wonderful.
I had
It
to
may have
do
taken
it.
a long
It
time,
did. It took
but
me to have a kid to realize it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I had to sit down and talk with her one time and say, you know, I mean, I could never imagine abandoning Robbie and Nicholas as babies. I was 2 when she abandoned me, and I just couldn't imagine how you could do that to a child. And I had to ask her why. I said, well, how could you have done that to us? And she told me. She was honest about it. She was in a bad situation. My father was an abuser. And she felt that to give me a good life, or to give, well, I'll say me, but because she didn't take the rest of us, but she went to nursing school. So that she got her career on level and became a nurse. And that's when she decided she would bring me back home, because then she could support me. Because back in the day, you didn't get child
Wow.
support. My mother got
No,
no child support for any of us.
a lot
It,
of times you still don't.
yeah.
But I think that's really amazing that there was so much honesty and vulnerability there.
Well, it was killing me inside. I had to ask her, because after having
I'm
a
glad you
child,
did.
I realized, you know, the bond you form. And one of the things my pastor told me when I was in the Methodist church in Annapolis was that any woman can be a mom. Well, I mean, as long as they had
The parts.
the parts to
Yeah.
do it. But it takes a great woman to be a mother. And he said, and that's what your mom was. Your mom was a mom. She just spit you out, but she didn't know how to be a mother, because and you got to think about, well, what was her childhood
Yeah, I
about?
was just getting ready to
And so
say, like, this
he
is,
kind of went through all that with me and saying, you know, my mother grew up in an alcoholic house. My
yeah,
grandfather was an alcoholic, and to get out of it, and he was an abuser back, you
yeah.
know, back in the 30s and 40s. Men smacked their women around all the time. Nothing happened.
Oh, God.
So,
Yeah.
you know, to get out of it, my mother literally left home at 15, left school, and married my father, and had my brother Kenny when she was 16 years old.
Okay,
I can't
okay.
imagine. I waited till I was 30 years old to have a child.
I know.
And even then, I was lost.
I know.
But can you imagine? I mean, I don't know
No,
how. I mean, I think a
I
lot
can't
of young
imagine that at
ladies,
all.
you know, nowadays get a lot of support for early, you know, having teenage pregnancies. But back in our day, you didn't get that kind of
No, of
support.
course you did
And that was the
not.
one thing I never wanted to do, was have a teenage pregnancy.
Oh my
Because I
gosh.
knew in
Yeah.
my heart, I felt then, if I ever went through that, I would abandon that child. I just felt it in me. And that's why I never thought about
I
having
think it's
children.
really wonderful that you've been able to achieve a level of understanding, and you were open to it and she was open to it, and you met in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing, because that's how healing can happen. It can't happen any other way. So I just think that's amazing. So are there ways that those early life challenges, do you think, have been a positive benefit? Because sometimes we have traumas on, obviously, like a whole bunch of levels, but there's sometimes I even look back and I say, I'm actually kind of glad because I've been able to do this, or I've been able to look at this a certain way.
Yeah, I think it taught me a lot about taking care of myself. You know, I mean, really in life, if you can't depend upon yourself, where are you going to go? You know, and it made me sit back and think. I think it made me a better mother, number one, because I never wanted my children to have to go through that in their
Right.
life. Even though they did, their father and I divorced when they were 7 and 9, but I made sure I was always there. I
Hmm.
never, you know, I was with them through everything in childhood.
Just so you know, I don't think any mom, no matter how they're raised, when they first and through many different stages, know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
Like we think we do, but we don't know shit.
No.
Okay, like we don't know shit.
I mean,
There's no
literally,
like,
even if I had had probably and I would say I had a good childhood if it hadn't been part of the abandonment, but I just think, you know, any woman who's never had a baby, you leave this baby in your arms and you're like, what do I
yeah.
do with you now?
You're like,
What
okay,
is
well, we
supposed to
can Google
happen?
this. And
No,
you
back
can
in
like,
the
you
80s, there
couldn't do
was
it
no
back then.
Google.
You're like,
No.
well, they can now. But even like middle school, and then all the like their hormones are all over the place, and
Yes.
teenagers, and I still don't know what the hell to do. I'm honest about it though. Like I'm always saying, like, I'm not the this kind of mom. I'm over here, you need help, I'm your girl, right?
Right.
But I'm not the PTA mom. I don't do any of that. Like I have a job, I have a business, and that's more like me. But if you need something, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm always like the one, like that's who they're gonna call.
So I think what you asked me about how it changed me,
Mhm.
I think it made me look at things, like I say, I knew how to take better care of myself, and it made me look at more at the positive things, because even my divorce, there was a positive out of it, because I just knew in my heart that I probably would have killed that man. And I hate saying that, but it's a pattern that you start, and that was another pattern that my pastor pointed out to me, and it was their father was abusive,
There you
and
go. Yeah.
I was used to abuse in my life because my father
Hmm.
was abusive, and some of the foster families I've been in were abusive, and I would have to say I don't remember being abused, but we got beat with switches. We had a willow
That
tree
was like a
in
common
this
thing back
house
then. Yeah.
that hung over a fish pond, and it wasn't just me, her own children. If
Yeah.
we all four got in trouble together, we picked our own switch and we got hit with it.
Wow.
So I remember going to school many times with whip marks on the back of my legs, and nobody said anything about it back then.
Of course. No, of course. It was
But I think that cycle
differences, and yes, I think you're definitely
uh,
unequivocally correct.
right, and that's what I mean. Robbie had a little bit of a thing back in high school with a girl, and I had to pull him aside. And I think just because living like that, I
Hmm.
had to sit down and tell him, if you do not break this chain of
Yeah.
what you're doing verbally. And he pushed a girl against the locker because he got mad at her. And I sat down and I said, "This will be the start." I said, "And it will end up destroying you." I said, "You
Absolutely.
cannot do this or treat any woman or even a man this way, unless, of course, you can hit a man if he hits you first, I think."
Back him over with the car.
Yeah.
Like,
But
but
it's just a cycle I did not. And that was
yeah.
one of the things he taught me, is that if I didn't break this cycle of abuse in my children's life, my children were going to grow up and be like that.
Oh yeah, and it is. It's a nasty cycle, and that
Hmm.
goes not just for physical, but emotional abuse,
Yes.
verbal abuse. Emotional now is like, I hate to say this, like soaring, as far as like, because it's quiet. It's not something that causes bruises. So I'll hear young people, comment about how it's not abuse if it's not physical. I'm like, okay, no, that's not at all what that is. You can be controlling over someone, and that's a form of abuse.
Right.
Like the verbal abuse sticks like
I have
glue.
always felt, because I have been on both sides of that, bruises heal, words don't. You
No,
carry those words in your head forever. You really do.
you do.
And you just,
You shape
eh,
the way you think about
you about
yourself.
yourself, and a lot of times it will just, as you progress into another relationship or try to go on, when you hit a wall, those words repeat over and over in your head,
The
and
actions, the
they're
words,
flashbacks.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's how then you have that whole cycle, because then you're like, okay, it's all like part of mental health, where you start to, tell yourself that story, and then you find somebody else who does the same thing.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, I got to get off this train. Like it's
Right.
going in a
Well,
circle.
I tell myself, quit feeling sorry for myself. It's in the past. You made it, and keep moving forward. And that's what I
Absolutely.
try to tell my boys. It's uh, right now they have a little bit of a relationship problem between the two of them. They see things a little bit different in their past when it comes to their father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very neutral in it, but in my heart, and I try to tell them both, it's okay to disagree. You don't have to
Absolutely.
agree with what
Yeah.
he says, but it's more of respecting, your brother feels this way about your father and you feel that way.
Yeah.
And it's not worth not having that brotherly love, because when I'm gone, you two have nobody else as
Right.
far as family. You just have me. Well, the one son doesn't have a relationship with his father, but the other one does.
Right.
But it's like, even though you marry and you have your own family, it's not, what am I trying it's not your mother and your father.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I don't think it's again, we go back to that thing where you can agree to disagree. People can do that. They
Mhm.
don't even have to live the same way.
Right.
You know, you don't even have to like I find that people want people to agree with them so badly that just becomes this mess. But who's it really hurting if one person thinks one way and one person thinks another way? It
I
doesn't
think
really matter, does it?
no, and I think to me, what I go back on is that if I love you enough in my heart and your relationship means that to me, and that's how I look at most of my relationships,
Yeah.
is that whatever we're disagreeing on, I don't want it to cause our relationship because I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you as a friend. I don't want to lose
Yeah.
you as my lover. So okay, we'll just call it halt and we just won't talk about it anymore. But don't try to sway me on my side. And I'm open to listening to other people's points of views, but you need to understand I don't have to agree with them.
You can accept them without agreeing.
Right.
And that is totally and completely okay. And I'm not sure I feel that these are the kinds of things that start to change when you get older
I think that it is.
and you start to and we talk about this a lot, like that 40 mark happens and then it keeps going and it keeps going and like it's like something happens at 40. I don't think you really know like what is going down, but you start to change your focus, you start to have the ability to do those kinds of things, to realize it's not the end of the world
Yes.
to have a different opinion. It's really freaking not. Wish I could scream that, especially in recent times. But even just amongst like relationships and friendships, unless it's something like some serious deal breaker where somebody did something absolutely horrible to you, just a difference of opinion should not create that.
Right.
But I think it's easier to see that when you start to
I
get
think
over
it's easier
40.
for the person who wants you to see it their way. It's easier for them to say, uh, number one, they don't want to think outside the box, and I don't really like being around people who don't think outside the box too
Oh, yeah.
much.
Like that. Yeah.
So I think it's easier for them to say, well, if you're not going to agree with me, then I'm just going to walk away, and we're not going to be friends because they don't want to work on it. And that to me is just a lack of respect in a friendship. And
It
if you
is.
don't have that, then don't waste my time.
Yes.
If my opinion doesn't mean
It
anything
shows
to
the
you,
quality of that
right?
relationship.
Exactly.
Do you always agree with your partner?
Did you read my lips?
Yes.
Okay. No, Michael and I do have a big difference of opinion.
I mean, it
Yeah,
happens.
it does. It happens. Sometimes I have to pull him in. I have to remind him when he can be a little bit aggressive about situations, and I have to say, you haven't walked in their shoes. You don't know what's
Mm,
going on in their life.
yeah.
So to sit there and judge what you're seeing now, I think is wrong because you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think he kind of steps back. And I have seen a big change in Michael since we started dating to, I mean, we're on 6 years of living together, but 8 years of being together, of dating.
I remember a post when you guys moved in together about a closet. Am I correct?
Uh-huh.
Did you not get the closet? So it was something about that. I don't want to quote it because
Well, I
my
have,
my brain fog is not going to remember that exactly, but I remember laughing about this. Like, I don't know if I made a comment like, give her the bigger closet.
yes, Michael has the big walk-in closet in the bedroom, and he hangs every Harley shirt he owns. So, in all fairness, we have a 4-bedroom house. And I have all the other closets.
Okay, that might be an okay
I have taken them
agreement.
over them all.
There you go.
And I do
There
have
you go.
and I have made more space in his too. I keep moving a little bit more things there. But actually, I like having my own bedroom to be my
Oh.
dressing room and my room to go into.
Well, that's actually that's even bigger than a walk-in.
Yeah.
So that's even better.
Yeah. And
It holds way more shoes.
It does. Way more. And free birds.
There you go. There you go. But that's the same concept. Like there's a level of accepting people as they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you care about the relationship you have to do things that care about and being mindful of that other person. And I think it goes across the board. People are just not as mindful of other people
Right.
anymore.
No,
Like,
they're
I
not.
mean, there's a level of complete, I don't know if it's all the distraction or the divisiveness that we've come to be generating like gangbusters right now,
Yeah.
but it's just a lack of mindfulness.
I think as you get older, um, you tend to you start to feel more compassion for other people and what's
Yeah.
going on in the world. I know in my 40s, I mean, I was just a loose cannon. You know, I was divorced again, riding a Harley, and I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. And
I think that's really cool. Like, I mean, why not?
yes.
Right? Why
I
not?
mean, and literally it was a good lesson for me, because I feel like I did go from one frying pan to the other. And I literally spent 10 years by myself living in a house. And it really made me find myself. It made me learn more about myself and what I'm going to accept and what I'm not going to accept anymore in life.
I always say that midlife is the perfect time to do that.
Yes.
Always like the perfect time. It's a piece of advice I tell everyone, figure out what you want. I wrote all mine down. They've heard all about it.
Mm.
It was just, I needed to do that to get off of my hamster wheel
Right.
of all of those things I'm still working on, by the way. But like, at
We're
51.
always a work in progress.
Yeah. And I think that's totally okay. I think we accept that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that advice came from. Like, you tell the kids, don't try to grow up so fast.
Right.
You're going to be working on this for a long time. You might as well,
And the funny thing is,
like,
Robbie
take a
married,
seat.
my oldest son married into a marriage that there is 2 children. And this is Robbie's second marriage. He never had from his first one. But I see him, and his son is ADHD. His
Mhm.
stepson is ADHD. And I've seen times where Robbie doesn't know how to handle him. And so I think one of the things I like doing as a mom is I step out of the situation, and then later on I'll call Robbie and I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah.
And I tell him, I said, something that I learned with daycare and with children who were ADAD, especially ones who are off the wall, the best thing that you can do for that child is secure them and make them feel.
Mhm.
You need to just, when he's having his little fits and he wants to go around the kitchen and attack his sister and his mom, and you don't like it because you want peace and quiet because you worked all the day. I said, best thing for you to do is pick that little boy up in your arms and hold him. And if he's flinging his arms and carrying on, is you just need to calm him down for a minute and make him feel grounded, because children need to feel grounded.
They say this about women. Women need security and
Right.
safety. And it's, the same thing. It's like a weighted blanket,
Yes.
like the same, like, it's safe and it's
I have a weighted
secure.
blanket. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, don't like it at all.
Then
No.
you probably don't have all those issues that
Maybe
like
not.
actually require a weighted
Yeah,
blanket.
I was wondering what they were about, but I actually won it as a free gift in a Christmas bazaar thing.
Interesting.
And it's on the corner of my couch. My cats like it. They like getting underneath of it.
Are you claustrophobic at all? I am a little bit, so I always feel like it's too, like, those are like too heavy on me and I can't breathe.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
I
let's
don't like
just
the
say.
that's kind of what it is. It makes me feel like I'm being held down, and that will set
Okay,
me
yeah.
off. I don't like being pinned down. I've been pinned down too much in my life, mentally and physically.
There you go.
Yeah.
See all those little correlations.
Yeah, but I have to tell you what, I do like a blanket, and I'm going to just put it out there because they're the best blankets. Lola blankets. I gave one to our friend Dawn Perry. The lady who has the organization had stage 4 breast cancer.
Oh,
And
okay.
going through all these infusions, and I've seen it a lot, that women bring in comfort blankets.
Okay, yeah.
And these blankets are so nice. I bought myself one. I now own 4. And there's one on every bed in my bedroom in our house, and plus there's one on our couch. And it's funny because the comfort of that blanket, when we travel, that blanket, one of those blankets go with me.
Oh, like
They really
Linus.
do. Yep.
Like
Yep. I take my blanket with
Linus and
me
his security
because
blanket.
it's just so you'll have to go on Facebook and Google
I have one of
Lola
those
blankets.
chiropractic pillows that's like a giant like
Mm-hmm.
marshmallow. I love it. And I'm always like, man, I forgot the damn pillow. You know, like it's just not as comfortable.
Yes. Now, when we go on cruises, I don't take them with me because it's
Right.
just a little bit too much. But if we go just to stay at hotels or something, yeah, that blanket is. And even Michael, I come home and I see things under my blanket, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like,
Man.
"This blanket is nice."
Corey took my big fuzzy socks one time. That his aunt bought these, and we were going to like I think it was the Poconos, and it was like 5 degrees outside.
my
So
God.
I brought them, and I wore them all the time because they were so warm and so soft and comfy. And I came out, and he's wearing them. I'm like, oh hell no, those are my those are my comfy socks. You know, it's like my blankie.
Yeah, I'll be sitting on the couch and he's got the blanket, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, I have regular blankets that I've bought at
I
Bosco
know,
House
but
and
there's
stuff
something
like that.
different about ones
And
like
I'm
that.
like, you can have that blanket, but you need to give me back my Lola blankets.
So we all have those special little
Yes.
things.
And actually, when his parents came over to the condo last week to see it, and the blanket was on the bed, and his mother's touching it, and she's like, "Wow, that's a nice blanket they gave you in the condo." And I said, "No, I bought that blanket. Didn't come with the condo, but she liked it so much." I said, "Do you want one of these?" And she's like, "Yeah." So we're gonna get her one for Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Well, thank you so much for coming on the
Oh,
show
you're
today.
welcome.
I
Thank you
had
for
such a
having
good time
me.
talking to you. And all of our viewers, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Just click that subscribe button, and you can find us also to listen on Apple and Spotify. And please join us next time on All Things Pink.
You gotta get out there and explore. Baby, let your love